Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a reading vlog for the Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi. Well, okay, not the series, but this book in particular, and I guess Destroy Me as well, which is the novella after this book. And the reason why I picked this up after so long of having it on my shelves is simply because I read the Inheritance Game series and the love triangle didn't go as well as I thought it would. The people I wanted to ship didn't happen. And so I was distraught beyond belief, still am, and the one way I knew how to cure that little state of depression was to choose a book where I know the couple which would come out of the end. And yeah, I know what happens in this because I'm just prone to spoilers. And I mean, if you've been on Book Talk, like, you've probably seen it too. I'm not saying, but it's pretty obvious. This book, I've heard everywhere in Book Talk. I don't know why it's taken me so long to pick it up, but the time felt right. And I'm going to do it. So just to be warned, this is going to be a spoiler-filled vlog just because I like to express my thoughts and feelings. That's that. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, first update on Shatter Me. I stopped at chapter 12, page 67. I'm in love with this book so far. I actually really like it. I didn't expect to be introduced to some of those main characters right off the bat, other than Juliet, because I know that's like, this is her story. But when we got introduced to Warner, I was like, here, because I've heard so many things about this guy. And he made his grand entrance. Although it wasn't as grand as you would think it is, but it's still grand nonetheless. So anyway, what has happened in the first 12 chapters? Basically, we have Juliet, who's basically imprisoned somewhere in some kind of an asylum, insane asylum probably. And one day she gets a cellmate and she said she hadn't spoke to anyone or seen anyone in over like 260 days or something like that. And the first person she meets happens to be Adam. And so they get along for the first 2 weeks and everything. They talk, whatnot. And then comes a day where they're released or they're brought somewhere. And then Juliet wonders, like, where did Adam go? And then she sees him, except now he is in a soldier's uniform. By her assumption means, like, he's basically a soldier. And he was, like, double teaming against her or something like that. So that was kind of sad. But when that happened, we got introduced to Warner himself. I was so excited. And I can tell why people have like some kind of an affinity towards him. I can feel it too. I'm just excited to see what else happens. And so long story short, he is basically some kind of a leader. I don't know if they're a part of the reestablishment because basically this whole world is set in a dystopian futuristic version of ours where a lot of things just went wrong. They never really said what in particular, but basically the society and the world system wise has collapsed, and so in order to bring peace and prosperity back to the world, they have decided to form a group called the Reestablishment or Establishment, something like that, which is like a one entity kind of governing body. Nonetheless, we get to the point where Warner, he's like saying, I need you to help me because we need to get some things done, and I'm gonna assign Adam to you and he'll be the soldier like watching over you basically. So that's where we're at. For me, I'm a little vague or like not entirely sure about why the world is the way it is. Like, I know it's dystopian, so obviously something went wrong in the past, but it made it seem like it happened like in a couple of years, like not too far from where they started from, which is fine, but I'm just interested to see like where we'll get to at some point. Anyway, let's continue reading. Okay, next update. I'm on chapter 21, page 122 now. So all we got basically from the previous chapter up until this point was basically that Adam learned that he can basically touch Juliet. Now, I'm still very confused on what her abilities are because, like, it seems like when she touches someone, I don't know if they shrivel up. Does she steal their life force? Like, what happens when she touches them? So, like, because when she touched that guy Jenkins, like, he just collapsed. And I was like, so clearly, she says her touch is lethal, but Adam's somehow immune to her effects because he was, like, holding her before. So that's interesting. And we know Warner. He's 19 years old. He is quite young. My interest in him is just, like, because I know generally some things that happen towards the end of the series. So I'm wondering, like what happens to his character that causes certain changes, or like why he is the way he is, because I heard he had some kind of a traumatic past. And he's 19, so he's like pretty close to Juliet's age. How he got into that position in the first place. But what we got to is like he's supposed to be helping Juliet like build her powers and just learn to control them better. But that's just kind of what we got in the past, like, 60 pages. She was just talking to... Yeah, there's not much more other than, like, her really just talking to Warner every now and then. Okay, let's continue. On page 185 of chapter 28 now. Oh my gosh, Warner is like actually insane. I think he's just trying to test the limits of her powers. Like, we're all pretty confused about what she can do too. But basically, it was like insane. He basically took her and put her in like a torture chamber and threw in a toddler, literally a baby, with a blindfold, and there's spikes everywhere so he could injure himself. And Warner told Juliet, you need to save him, pick him up so he doesn't run into it and, you know, hurt himself. And it was scary because if she touches something, like, they die or something, or they get injured of some sorts. So she tried to figure out a way to hold him, and so she grabbed him at first, and it worked. And then a few seconds later, the baby started to act up, and then it was like fidgeting, and then it was freaking out, and then it was crying a lot, so it was really bad. And then I think it didn't go limp, but it was okay in the end. But then she got so mad that she literally broke through concrete walls and like grabbed Warner's neck. And then that's where the scene ended there. And then we get to the point where Juliet and Adam are basically plotting to escape their establishment. And Warner catches them because apparently the sirens were going off saying it was a code 7, which is probably some like emergency thing, but really it was a drill planned by Warner to see, I guess, who was with him and who wasn't. And so Juliet and Adam escaped through the window down a ladder. And so as she's about to jump off the window onto the rope, Warner grabs her leg and nothing happens to him. So now we have 2 people who are immune to her touch. This is interesting. I'm excited to see. We're like a little less than halfway through the book, but I'm excited to see what else happens. Okay, something very special came in from Waterstones themselves. I'm so excited. I know exactly what this is, and I'm going to show you what this is. Oh, it's not coming out. Crap. Ooh. I got the Waterstones. Wait, what? Oh, holding it upside down. I was like, what? signed by the author. I got the second book for Once Upon a Broken Heart, Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the exclusive Waterstones signed edition, which means it has one of those hidden paperbacks and it's signed by Stephanie Garber herself. Okay, so I was too late to purchase the first book in the Waterstones exclusive edition, but I do have the Indigo / Barnes & Noble edition of Once Upon a Broken Heart and Ballad. So this is what I got recently. These are really pretty. They do have the hidden covers. So this is the first book, Once Upon a Broken Heart. It just says recipes of a hidden ancient north. And it was important to the plot too. So it was really nice to see, you know, the cover actually reflect that. And then we have Ballad, book 2 just released. It says the rise and fall of the Valors. Also very important. And now we have, hold on. The exclusive. I'm so excited. Okay, let's open this. Okay, hold on. Which hidden cover do I think it is? I think there was a dragon. There was skull. I think there was flowers, and then there was one more thing. I don't remember, but let's see. Oh, I got the flowers. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It looks so pretty. It's so pretty. I kind of wish I got the dragon, but you know, I'll take anything. This, oh, like come on. This is beautiful. I'm basically building a Stephanie Garber collection at this point. Like, come on, it's so pretty. Okay, update. I'm on page 45. No, page 45. Chapter 45, page 291. I'm almost done. This is going to be my last update before I completely just finish the book, basically, because there's like 40 pages left. Anyway, so what happened is that I said Julia and Adam escaped, and in that time, we learned they love each other. They have admitted their feelings, which is cute and all. Moving onward, they went to Adam's house. His father's dead, apparently, but he had a younger brother, James, and they saw him and picked him up there. Long story short, a bunch of chaos happened, and then a friend of Adam's, who was a soldier at Warner's reestablishment place, his name is Kenji, he was there, and he hobbled and found Adam there. But what was interesting is that he said someone dropped him off there. Who is this someone? That's what I want to know. Long story short, again, they found soldiers storming the place. So they all basically escaped and they met up with Warner again. And what happens? They take Adam. They basically torture him, beat him up pretty bad. And he basically says, Juliet, I could love you and everything. Here's my thing is that, like, I know a lot of people like his character. And I'm like, this man's literally a psycho. Like, he's done so many horrible things right now, not just to Juliet, but to so many other people. I'm wondering, like, how his character changes. But clearly we know he's alive. Juliet shot him by taking his gun after an intimate position, and her and Adam escaped. And so did Kenji and James. Now they arrived at this facility, which Kenji was talking about, and they're supposed to meet this person named Castle. I don't know who the heck Castle is. My thing is, like, there's 40 pages left, and I'm wondering, is Warner supposed to be the villain in this entire story? Or, like, the establishment in general? Like, because, like, it's weird. I don't know. Because they haven't really defined, like, a main goal of the establishment other than to use Juliet for their own means. So that's what I'm a bit, like, confused about the book of. But it's interesting. I like it. I just want to see what happens to all of them in the next few books, because I know Ignite Me is the big one. That's like the fan favorite, and I'm really excited. Anyway, let's finish this book. I've officially finished Shatter Me by Tahir Mafi now, and actually the novella that was included in this book as well, Destroy Me, which is basically like a spin-off filler book based on Warner's perspective, just giving an introspective view about his thoughts and feelings about Juliet and just the whole idea behind his backstory and his relationship with his father and just general things like that, his thought processes. But from where we left off in the main series, basically they went to meet Castle, who's basically the head guy of like an institute of people who have interesting magical abilities, like Juliet. Now, they are suspecting that the reason Adam and I guess Warner are able to touch her is for a specific reason. I'm assuming Adam and Warner have their own abilities. That's why they're able to touch her or whatnot, because Kenji, same thing. He, I guess he has powers of his own. I don't remember what it was. Oh no, he doesn't. Okay, forget that. Anyway, I ended the book. It didn't really give us something to look forward to in the end, other than the fact that you'll just see Juliet, I guess, learn more about herself and her powers. But overall rating of Shatter Me, I think it was a solid book. It's nothing amazing. I think the best part about this book, honestly, is probably Warner, just because you get a real taste of just how complex and how interesting his character is. Yes, in the beginning, he's quite diabolical and very overbearing at times, and it's just a lot to take in because he was doing a lot of things that was just quite uncomfortable. And then they hit us with the novella Destroy Me, where it was like complete flipped opposite. But that was so interesting though, because we really got into his head and just what he thinks about. So you get to learn more about his relationship with his father, and it's just like he hates him to the core. His mother is something he just never talked about. He mentioned like something very brief about how his father turned abusive of some sorts, and he had a very traumatic childhood. I'm talking about Warner here. And it was very similar to Juliet's. Also, he found her notebook because she left it behind in her room, and he started reading through it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Then he really get into, you know, her thought processes staying in the asylum. And he started to really resonate with her thoughts because he was experiencing a lot of the same things. And it basically was revealed like he actually loves her, like literally loves her, which is almost like, it feels like it's a bit too sudden just because they only had like still a number of scenes together. But even then, like how, like the only thing I could really make sense of it is just because he finds a natural connection with her just because of how damaged she was as a person. But, you know, it still feels a little rushed. But like I said, overall rating of this book, I think I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. You know, it wasn't amazing, but I do like the world where it's headed and just like the atmosphere of things, and especially the characters. So that's good. I don't think, like, it was weird. It felt like there was not much going on in a span of 320 pages, but it happened fairly quickly. I don't know how to describe that. That's just what came to mind. And for the novella Destroy Me, that's tough. It's hard to rate it just because it's not a part of the main story. It's more just like giving you background information. But you know what? Maybe I'll give it like 3.5 as well, or 4, just because I like Warner's character and where it's headed. What I do really enjoy though towards the end is that you really do think that he is very much misunderstood and the epitome of a morally gray character, because he's been kind of growing up learning these things about how to kind of shut people out and how to protect himself and learn how to fire a gun and whatnot. And it's interesting because he actually has like a bit more of a softer heart than you would think, because you would see these scenes where his father would talk to him saying, I know you went to go to see the civilians and try to help them out. Like he talked about the time where he shot that guy Fletcher Seamus in front of Juliet and everything. And it was really because that guy, the soldier, was misabusing the money he was earning and not providing it for his family for survival purposes, like food, water. And Warner found out that they were starving and like they were getting medically injured all this entire time. So he was really angry about it. And when he went to see the family himself to check on them, they wouldn't really reveal it because they were just afraid. And so that's why he shot him, because he was mistreating his family. So there is definitely a softer side to him. Also, I finally understand the picture of Warner with the dog, and that's really cute. He fed the dog his Danish pastry. That's pretty generous though. And it's so weird though, like he keeps having these hallucinations of Juliet. And I'm like, why? Like, it's interesting, but like, why? Anyway, that's just kind of my take on Shatter Me. As much as I would love to do a reading vlog on the other 2 books, what's it called? Unravel Me and Ignite Me. Ignite Me I know is a very big favorite, but like I want to read it for my own purposes, not just like sharing my opinion every 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Shatter Me and the series in general, and I'll see you in my next vlog. Peace.